In a distant kingdom, hidden between rolling hills and shimmering rivers, there lived a young girl named Elaliya. She was a beacon of kindness and humility, her heart shining with a light brighter than any star in the night sky. Yet her life was shadowed by hardship. Following her mother's passing, she was left in the care of her stepmother and two stepsisters, women whose hearts were as cold and unforgiving as the winter frost. They saw her light not as a gift, but as something to be dimmed. Day after day, Elaliya's life was a cycle of endless chores. She worked tirelessly from the first light of dawn until long after dusk had settled. She swept the dusty floors, fetched heavy buckets of water from the well, and meticulously mended the elaborate dresses her stepsisters would carelessly tear. Her hands were always busy, but her efforts were never met with a single word of gratitude. Instead, she received only scorn and indifference. In those quiet moments when sadness threatened to overwhelm her, she would find solace by gazing up at the vast star-dusted sky. She would whisper a secret promise to herself, a mantra of hope. One day, the light will return to me. It was this quiet strength, this unwavering belief in a brighter tomorrow that kept her spirit from breaking. One sun-drenched morning, the quiet routine of the village was broken by the arrival of a royal messenger, his uniform crisp and his voice booming with authority. By royal decree, he announced, His Highness, the Prince, will host a grand ball to find his one true love. The news sent waves of excitement through the town square. Elaliya's stepsisters shrieked with delight, their minds immediately filled with visions of gowns and jewels. Of course, for Elaliya, there was no such hope. Her stepmother, with a cruel and mocking laugh, extinguished any flicker of a dream. At the royal ball, she sneered, "Don't be ridiculous. Who would ever notice a cinder-stained girl like you?" Elaliya simply offered a faint, sad smile. Her heart ached, but her spirit remained unbroken. That evening, as she sat alone in her small, dim room, a single beam of moonlight pierced through the window, illuminating the dust motes dancing in the air. A gentle, ethereal voice whispered on the breeze, "Elaliya, never lose hope." Startled, she looked up to see a mysterious figure materializing before her, an old woman cloaked in what looked like pure stardust, her eyes twinkling with ancient wisdom. "I am your light guardian," she said, her voice warm and reassuring, "and tonight the true light of your heart shall be seen by all." With a graceful wave of a slender wand, a shower of sparks enveloped Elaliya. In an instant, her tattered rags transformed into a breathtaking gown, woven from mist and moonlight, shimmering with every movement. A dusty old lantern in the corner began to glow, morphing into a magnificent golden carriage, while the timid mice from the cellar stood tall, becoming proud, white horses ready to lead her to her destiny. When Elaliya entered the grand royal hall, a hush fell over the entire assembly. Every eye was drawn to her ethereal beauty. The prince, who had been politely greeting his guests, stood frozen, completely captivated. He couldn't take his eyes off her. He walked toward her as if in a dream, took her hand, and asked her to dance. As they moved across the floor, it was as if time itself had stopped just for them. They were two souls who had finally found their counterpart. But as the night wore on, a clock began to chime. Elaliya suddenly remembered the Light Guardian's warning: when the final bell tolls, the magic will fade and you must be gone. With a pang of regret, she pulled away from the prince's embrace and ran from the palace, leaving behind a single, delicate glass slipper on the marble steps. The very next day, a determined prince began a search that spanned the entire kingdom. The glass slipper was his only clue. From the grandest mansions to the humblest cottages, every maiden in the land tried to fit her foot into the delicate shoe, but it was no use. Finally, the royal party arrived at Elaliya's home after her stepsisters tried and failed miserably. The prince noticed Elaliya standing quietly in the shadows. He insisted she try as she slipped her foot into the slipper. It fit perfectly, as if it had been made for her alone. The prince looked into her eyes, his own filled with recognition and relief. "You," he whispered, his voice full of emotion. "You are the one I've been searching for." And in that moment, for the very first time in a long, long time, Elaliya felt truly seen. They were married soon after their wedding, a celebration of love and hope. But Queen Elaliya never forgot the girl she once was. She opened the castle gates to all the poor, the lost, and the dreamers, offering them the same kindness she had always held within her. She knew a profound truth, that true light, the kind that can change the world, doesn't come from wealth or status. It radiates from the kindness and compassion found within the heart. Thank you so much for watching this story unfold. If you enjoyed this tale, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more stories that warm the heart. Until next time, keep shining bright.